All right, fam. Welcome to my first video blog. This is the Vegas Eagle. My name is Bobby. Welcome to my apartment here in Las Vegas, Nevada. A little bit about me. I am originally from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. I've been a season ticket holder for the Eagles since I was 9 years old, since back in 1988. Again, this is my first video entry. The back of what you see beyond those windows is Las Vegas, Nevada. Moved out here about a little over 8 years ago. And my first episode today is going to be about ranking the road games the Eagles are playing for 2020. Hopefully there will be fans, but if there are fans, I'm going to help you rank the games by priority that you should attend if you are an Eagles fan. Now, there's a lot of factors that are involved as to choosing what road game to attend. So we're going to go worst to first, and I'm going to explain to you all the variables in play that'll help you decide what Eagles road game to go to no matter where you live. Most of you are probably in the Philadelphia area, but if you're around the country, around the world, this will help you determine which Eagles games to go to. All right? So we're going to go worst to first, like I said before, and the worst game to go to, we're going to call it 7B because 7A and 7B are almost as bad. So 7B is at the New York Giants. That game is November 15th, 1 o'clock local. All the times you see here are local just for ease of reference. So the first game, again, at New York, 1 o'clock on November 15th. So here's why you should not go to this game. Number one, the Giants do not play in New York. So we're going to fix this right away now because they play in the swamps of New Jersey. In the Meadowlands. So we're going to correct this. It's going to be the New Jersey Giants. So they play in East Rutherford, which is a dump outside of New York City. So if you're not from the Philadelphia area, you may think to yourself, oh, I want to go to New York City for the weekend. Well, that's good and all, but number one, it's going to be a little cold, middle of November. And number two, you're going to have to get from Manhattan to the Meadowlands, which is a major pain in the ass. Think a lot of traffic, get on buses, trains, a mess. Total mess, so I would not advise going to this game. This is the worst possible game to go to of all the Eagles road games. Even if you live in the Philadelphia area where you just go up the turnpike, it'll be an Eagle invasion, but I still wouldn't advise going to this game. There are much better games to go to for the Eagles than 2020. So we're going to call this the New Jersey Giants 7B. I do not advise going to this game. All right, we're going to move now to 7A, where the Eagles play the Washington Racists. That's on September 13th at 1 o'clock in D.C. Oh, wait, no, not in D.C. Not in D.C. because they don't play in Washington, D.C. They're actually the, little correction here, they are the Maryland Redskins. And I say Maryland because they actually play in Landover, Maryland, which no one really knows where the heck that is. So I'm just going to put Maryland so people generally know where Maryland is. But if you want to get really technical, they play in Landover, Maryland. Now, the good part about this game is that it's on September 13th, which is opening day. So the weather will be presumably nice, maybe actually a little hot in D.C. So I would not recommend going to this game. Again, for your out-of-towners who are not from the Philadelphia area, this is actually, you might want to make it a weekend in D.C., but if you make it a weekend in D.C., again, you're not going to be near the stadium. You're going to have to get on the metro, which takes you to a stop that's like 2 miles walking to the stadium there. So while it is true that it's a nice time of year to go to Washington, D.C. in September, it's going to be a pain to get to the stadium. Now, again, if you live in the Philadelphia area, well, it makes it a lot easier. You can jump on a bus and go straight from Philadelphia. So maybe you want to make it a game for opening day. So that's why it's 7A. It's slightly better than 7B. Keep in mind, both those games anyway, the Eagles play there every year. So if it's not convenient for you, you can wait till next year and the year after that because, they're playing games at the Redskins and at the Giants every single year. So, all right, now let's move to number 6 on the list. That is Cockroachville, Dallas, Texas, for the Eagles Cockroaches game. Now, the tough part about this one initially is that it's December 27th, so it's a couple days after Christmas. This is going to be tough for a lot of people to get there logistically with the holidays and family in town. The game is at 3:25 local. Dallas in and of itself is actually a pretty fun city to visit. I went to the Eagles-Cowboys game in 2010 there, the one where Deshaun Jackson caught that 91-yard touchdown pass from Michael Vick and fell backwards into the end zone. It was a Sunday night game. Eagles won that one 30-27. It was actually a nice road win, because it's always nice to actually see them win, and I've seen so many road game losses that it's been painful, and that was one of the few road wins that I've seen through the years. Now, Dallas, again, is the stadium, though, is in Arlington, which is nowhere, again, near Dallas. So it's a long haul to get there from Dallas. But if you stay in Dallas, you could, at this time of year, you could see a Dallas Stars game or a Mavericks game, so you could kind of make it into a weekend, depending on if those teams are home. Again, keep in mind, though, that we play Dallas in Dallas every single year, so if these times don't work for you, you don't need to obviously go to the game in Dallas in 2020. Okay, so moving forward, but I do recommend Dallas, though, as a city. Also, one thing you can do to make it a weekend, not this year because it's December 27th, but you could also sneaky value fly to Austin, which is about 3 hours from Dallas. Austin is a phenomenal city. Great bars, restaurants. You could even go to University of Texas football game. So people don't realize that Austin to Dallas is doable in one day, even if you wanted to. It's about a 3-hour drive. So moving up now to the top 5 Eagles road games to go to in 2020. All right, number 5 is Pittsburgh. It's October 11th at 1 o'clock. Now, the good part about this game is Pittsburgh we only play there once every 8 years, so it is something of a rare event that we're going to Pittsburgh. And again, if you live in Philadelphia, it's about a 5-hour drive to Pittsburgh, give or take. And again, you could make it a weekend whereby you could go to a Pitt football game, which if they're playing at home that weekend, you could go to that game. It's a great college town. I actually haven't been, but this is what a lot of people have been telling me, that it's a great college town. Again, good bars and restaurants. Some people might think this should be higher, but again, there's not a ton to do there. There is a casino there, but there is, from what I understand, not a ton to do in Pittsburgh, but the game itself, this is a great game. Roethlisberger is back. It'll be a great atmosphere. I remember back in 2004, when the Eagles played in Pittsburgh during our Super Bowl year, that it was a wild crowd, in that so many Eagles fans invaded Pittsburgh that year, that it could be a really fun atmosphere. Again, though, if you don't live in the Philadelphia area, I still think there are other games that are better for you to go to, but if you live in the Philadelphia area, again, quick drive that you could do, if you could push it, you could do it in a day from the Philadelphia area. Okay. So that takes care of Pittsburgh. Now, again, let's go to number 4. Now, some of you may be thinking, oh, Cleveland's a dump. Why would we ever want to go to a game in Cleveland? Well, in Pittsburgh, I actually think is an inferior town to Cleveland. Cleveland gets a lot of bad rap, and I think Cleveland is a sneaky, fun city. I actually went to law school in Cleveland, so I know a little bit about it. So if you go to Cleveland, this is November 22nd, so it could be a little cold, but you have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland. You've got 2 main drags in this downtown Cleveland called West 6th and West 9th Street, where there's a lot of good bars and restaurants. Cleveland fans are awesome. They remind me of us. They take football a little too seriously, but it's a great, great town. You could even make it into an Ohio State weekend. From Cleveland to Columbus is about 2.5 hours. So if you wanted to, you could go to an Ohio State Buckeyes game on Saturday and then come back, stay overnight in Cleveland, go to the Eagles game on Sunday. Like I said, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is there. It's great food. It's really comfort food, great people. I really do recommend this game. Again, this is one we only play there once every 8 years. The last time we played there in 2012, if you remember, that was the opening day game where Michael Vick was our quarterback and we barely beat the Browns 17-16 on a last-second, I believe, touchdown pass from Vick to Clay Harbor, of all people. So, okay, now we're going to go from to the top 3 games of road games of the year. Now, as I get to this, I really think that from 4 up, you can't lose. These are great weekends to go to. But if you're going to go to the top three, I'm going to explain to you a little bit of the intricacies of traveling to these games. Now, San Francisco, October 4th, 5:20 local. Again, all these times here are local. So it's the Sunday night game. I went to this game back in 2014 at the new Levi's Stadium, which is a phenomenally beautiful stadium. I will say, though, that there's one little correction I have. I know we have made little corrections here, and actually I should make one more back in this Dallas game because they don't play in Dallas. They play in Arlington, Texas. So little corrections here because the Philadelphia Eagles actually play in Philadelphia, which makes it convenient. But the San Francisco 49ers here, they actually do not play in San Francisco either. They play in Santa Clara. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, where the hell is Santa Clara? And to be honest, I don't even really know where Santa Clara is either. All I know is that it's basically San Jose. So if you're going to fly to this game, I would recommend at the very minimum that you fly home from San Jose, not San Francisco. I would advise you to fly into San Francisco or even Oakland if you're coming in for the weekend. Now, San Francisco is a spectacular town, one of the most beautiful cities in America, in my opinion. And October 4th is a spectacular time of year to go to San Francisco. It really is just some of the most beautiful weather out there in that time of year. So I would recommend flying into Oakland or San Francisco. You could go to Napa, which is about an hour away from that airport, or you could just make it a weekend in San Francisco, and you could go to Alcatraz, for instance, or you go to the Union Square area of San Francisco. It really is a gorgeous, gorgeous town. You go to the Golden Gate Bridge. There's a lot to do in San Francisco. But I will say, though, you have to understand that getting from San Francisco to San Jose or Santa Clara is a major, major pain, to the point where you would have to really rent a car or just take your belongings from whatever hotel you're in San Francisco and actually take an Uber to, I would advise you to take an Uber to a hotel in San Jose, because by the time this game is over at 8:30, 8:45 local time, it's going to be impossible for you to catch a red eye back to the East Coast, because it's a cluster getting out of this stadium. So I would advise you to stay overnight in San Jose by the airport, and then the next morning fly out of San Jose back to wherever you live around the country. But stay in San Francisco. You don't want to fly into San Jose because there's really nothing to do in San Jose for the weekend, or even staying in Santa Clara makes no sense. You want to go to San Francisco, Oakland, or into one of those two airports, then go from there. But this is going to be a phenomenal, phenomenal game. And again, under the lights, primetime audience, there will be tons of Eagles fans at this game. This is a great, great, great road game for you to go to as an Eagles fan for 2020. But it doesn't crack the top two, and I'm going to explain to you why. Number 2 on the list is the Arizona Cardinals. Now, thankfully, over the years, they used to be the Phoenix Cardinals. And they thankfully changed their name to the Arizona Cardinals, which forces me to not be able to correct their location of where they play, because they don't play in Phoenix. They play in Glendale, which is, again, nowhere near Phoenix. It's like a half hour, 40 minutes outside of Phoenix. Major pain to get to, somewhat similar to the situation here with Santa Clara and San Francisco. Now, date of the game, December 20th. This is a phenomenal time to be in the Phoenix and Scottsdale area. You're going to have temperatures in the 65, 70, Christmas time. It's going to be beautiful. And there's still 5 days before Christmas. So you're not right up against the Christmas holiday. You can go see your family perhaps right after the game. But again, if you're flying in to Phoenix for this game, this is going to be a spectacular weekend weather-wise. And you must stay in Scottsdale. Scottsdale is just this suburb of Phoenix that has all these bars and restaurants that is really gorgeous. They have great hotels, the W, the Hyatt. There's so many good hotels to stay in Scottsdale, and it's easily walkable. There's a road called Camelback Road that'll lead you to all the bars and restaurants. It's a great, great scene, and there will be tons and tons and tons of Eagles fans there. And again, with this game being at 1 o'clock local time, once it's over, it gives you plenty of time to go back to your hotel and then catch whatever flight. If it's a red eye, back home. You can easily do a red eye with this time frame here at 1 o'clock. Now, also, I have to say, though, there is a chance that they could flex this game to a later time, to 5:20 local time. So just in case, you have to keep that in mind. But I think overall it's pretty safe. It'll probably stay at this time, and in which case you can make this a spectacular weekend in Phoenix and Scottsdale. I would not recommend staying in downtown Phoenix. That's where the Diamondbacks play, but there really isn't much there. You want to stay in Scottsdale. So again, this is one you should really, really, really consider. This is going to be a hell of a weekend. Tons of Eagles fans always come out for this one. And again, stay in Scottsdale. It's phenomenal. You can thank me later. This is one that if you care about weather, a nice, comfortable weekend, this is the way to go. Which brings me to numero uno, the best Eagles game to go to on this board for 2020. So assuming we have fans, folks, it's Sports Bucket List. Number 1, the Green Bay Packers, December 6th, 3:25 local. Okay, but there's a lot of things you need to know about going to a Packers game at Lambeau if you've never been. There's a lot of travel issues that you really need to keep in mind before you go. You have to plan this out. It's really, really important to plan this out whenever you go to Green Bay. So, first things first. So, it's in December, which means 2 words, frozen tundra. But that's what makes it an experience. That's what makes it something you'll never forget. If the snow is swirling and the winds are swirling and you got wind chills below 0, it's something you'll never forget. Is it comfortable? No. But it's something you'll never forget. It's so historic. So the first thing is getting to Green Bay. Now, I would not actually think that you need to make this a prolonged weekend, but if you can get there Saturday, midday, that's the perfect time. You can go visit Lambeau Field when you get to Green Bay just to see it on the off day. There's not too much to do in Green Bay. It's a very suburbia, small town. Like we're talking like Applebee's is where people go. But you want to get there on the 5th. So how do we get to Green Bay? Now, there's a lot of options here. If you're coming from Philadelphia or anywhere else in the country, you're probably going to, you're going to have to connect through somewhere like Chicago or Detroit in order to fly into Green Bay. It can be pricey if you want to do that way, but obviously that's the cleanest, easiest way to do it. But you can also fly into Appleton, which is about 40 minutes away from Green Bay, or Milwaukee, which I understand is about an hour and a half-ish. Now, Milwaukee is a bigger city, so you can probably fly nonstop into Milwaukee from anywhere around the country. But you're not going to be able to fly nonstop into Green Bay. So keep that in mind that you're going to have to connect. And with this time of 3:25, just make sure you know there's no way you're getting out of Green Bay or flying out in time. You're going to have to stay overnight Sunday night into Monday before you fly home. So, okay, that's the first thing. Now, hotels in Green Bay. This is a mess, a complete and total mess, because there's not tons of hotels and they jack up the rates whenever there's a Packers home game. They're already sold out for many of the hotels at Green Bay. So you want to look into this soon to try to get a hotel locked down. And they're probably going to be overspending for a podunk hotel in Green Bay or in Appleton or maybe even Milwaukee if you have to. But you're going to have to rent a car, so keep that in mind too. You can't, it's going to be a major pain if you have to Uber. I think it's much more painstaking to Uber in Green Bay. So you can fly again into Milwaukee nonstop and then drive from Milwaukee. Or you can fly into Appleton, which is about 40 minutes away. But you're going to probably you'll definitely have to rent a car if you're in Appleton. And if you fly into Green Bay, again, I would still recommend getting a rental car. There is a casino in Green Bay, which is nice, something to do there. It's called the Oneida Casino. But then turning your attention to when you get there, and let's say you get your hotel and you get your car and everything, I would recommend you go straight to Lambeau Field just to take pictures and take it all in because, again, it's a really historic, it's like a museum of football. So, and we don't play there every year. Now, it has been a scheduling quirk that we have played there. Last year we played there. And I think in recent years before that, we did make some trips to Lambeau. I know 2013 we played there. That was when Aaron Rodgers was hurt, didn't play. Then we played out there in, I believe, 2014 with Mark Sanchez, where we got absolutely obliterated. I was actually there for both of those games. So it's, but again, you never know when we're going to be playing in Green Bay. It's not something that's guaranteed at all. It's one of those intra-conference games that depend. The only reason we're playing there this year is because we finished in the same place as Green Bay did in the NFC North. We won the NFC East, they won the NFC North, and that's why we're playing there this year. So that pretty much encapsulates all the 8 road games. So I'm crossing our fingers that we're going to have fans in stadiums this year. But hopefully this helps you determine what games you want to go to on the road. But as for me, you'll definitely see me at Lambeau. You'll definitely see me in Arizona, since that's a hop, skip, and a jump away from Las Vegas. And I will be in attendance in San Francisco as well. I can't do Cleveland, but I'm going to try to make Pittsburgh work. Can't do Dallas this year, and there's no way I'm going to the last 2. So I hope that helps figure out what Eagles road games you might go to. I'll be back, but this is my inaugural episode. My video blog, again, behind me is the city of Las Vegas, where I've lived the last 8 years. And folks, don't forget, plan ahead is so key. 2021, again, we don't know dates and times yet, but in 2021, the Philadelphia Eagles fly here to Las Vegas, Nevada, right down the street here to the brand new Allegiant Stadium. And folks, Eagles at Raiders, just plan ahead now. I don't care what date, I don't care what time. We need to make that the biggest Philadelphia invasion since we're talking levels of 2003. If you remember the Monday night game in Miami, the infamous one where about 20,000 Eagles fans invaded in December of 2003 in Miami. We need to make that the equivalent of this in 2021. Eagles at Raiders, get ready. Thanks for watching. This is the Vegas Eagle with my inaugural video blog, and I hope there's many more to come. Take care, everybody. Fly, Eagles, fly.